Yeah, I see the title, man. Let's get to
It's
it.
fairly obvious to everyone Victor Wembanyama is a once-in-a-lifetime prospect who has guard-like skills no 7'4" player should possess. And the hype for Victor has been building for really close to 2 years.
That's a fact, though,
As
bro. I
even
ain't gonna lie. I had to took me a second to process that. That's a fact. I've been seeing some crazy shit. That boy agile,
and
all that.
last year, you heard the American media saying Victor, if he was an all-time great, a top 10 player all time, he'd be a disappointment. And some even stupidly claimed that Victor didn't have a KD type career, Hakeem type career. His overall legacy would be a disappointment. That right there is a pretty good example of what we're
That
dealing
is
with when it
high
comes to the NBA media.
expectations.
And barely 5 games into Victor's career, we've seen massive overreactions on
Like
both sides.
I wouldn't even want to put that type of expectation on this kid. You know, top five. Y'all saying that already? Y'all want to be top five already? Damn. Let him at least get a rookie year in first, and then see where it's projecting to be. You know, y'all trying to guess and all that. Like, just let it play out. Let it play out. You know, I fell victim to that a little bit too. Posting little polls, 1, 2 polls about Wemby, where people predict him to be. Gotta just let it play out a little bit, though, man. Gotta just
And
let
the
it play out.
spectrum. As even in Victor's debut, he was getting dubbed a bust and called overrated entering the fourth quarter. Think about that. This dude hadn't finished a full NBA game yet, was being called a bust.
Yeah,
And
they
after his
ready.
third game
They
versus the
ready to,
Clippers,
you know.
where he had a so-so
That's that number one
showing,
pick
like
treatment. You know what I'm saying? When you up, they gonna love you. When you down, they gonna hate you.
5 turnovers, only 11 points, he got dragged for that and not, quote, living up to the hype. Now, that's one side of the spectrum. On the other side, when Victor plays well, it gets pretty outrageous. As in 2 games versus Phoenix, where he was dominant on both ends of the court, all that overrated talk went out the window. And all of a sudden, it was being asked if Victor realistically had potential to catch LeBron James or Michael Jordan. That is the hysteria with the NBA media. Their massive mood swings, overreactions, in one way
Yeah,
or
but
another.
it's really to create you know, create attention, bring attention to the league, you know, and create more revenue. That's what it's all about. It's a business at the end of the day. So, yeah.
In Victor's first 5 games of his career, it really is a case study of just how god awful the media is. And my main problem with the media, really going back 10, 15 years, they are always looking for the quote unquote next one. The next guy to market, promote as the greatest of all time.
Mm,
And look, Victor,
tough shot.
maybe he becomes that, maybe he doesn't. But for right now, Victor is Victor. He's not LeBron, not Hakeem,
Facts.
not Jordan, and doesn't
Gotta let
have
that
to
boy
be.
hoop.
And it is pretty telling seeing someone like Rachel Nichols, who's basically the female Brian Windhorse, say Wembanyama could actually be better than LeBron James. Look, I feel pretty confident saying LeBron James is at worst a top 3 player of all time, and Victor won't reach those heights. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
I ain't gonna
crazy
lie, cause that's a lot of things gotta fall in place for that, bro. A lot of things.
to say that I'm outrageous, but I'm going out there on a limb and making that statement. And look, I'm gonna be very clear saying this. It's one thing to hate the media and then hate the player that's named Victor. When it comes to Victor, I'm a massive, massive fan. And looking back at the NBA draft, it really is kind of insane. This guy was one ping pong bounce away from being a Charlotte Hornet. Think about that. The most dysfunctional team in the NBA versus the most stable in the San Antonio Spurs. Victor's entire career could be changed off that one ping pong ball. And in some weird alternate universe,
I was a tough luck.
Wemby, Miles Bridges, and Kai Jones, they're winning 25 games to the end of time. But luckily in this universe, we got Victor in San Antonio with a great organization that has an actual backbone. As looking at former number 1 picks, a guy like Zion Williamson, him going to the Pelicans arguably was the worst thing that could have happened, as Louisiana is the center of the gumbo universe. And in many ways, Zion being a Pelican, it didn't get him injured per se, but the way they treated him with kid gloves, been very protective of him. That's been at his detriment and his disadvantage. And it's pretty crazy to think, imagine Zion Williamson in Wembanyama's shoes. Going to the Spurs, a stable team, knows what they're doing, and are competent. Zion's career at this point could be totally different if he was a Spur. That's why Wemby going to San Antonio was so important for the NBA, as was him. And from all the interviews I've watched, the quotes I've seen about him, he is very humble and grounded and doesn't buy into the hype.
Facts.
And for a great player, sometimes that overall mindset can be your best attribute.
Yo, for real,
and Victor's overall game, quite literally, does speak for itself. As in the defensive end already, he's an elite shot blocker and protector, as well as rebounder. Offensively, a little bit shaky here and there, but in 2 games versus Kevin Durant back-to-back, not only defeated Kevin Durant both times, but had crucial plays in the fourth quarter, including some crazy heat checks in that second meeting. And if you look at the overall head-to-head stats, KD might have been slightly better than Victor overall, but Victor played Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the world still, to a standstill. And their second meeting, Victor scoring 38 points.
The fact that he's competing with KD at this level, at this early, is crazy.
For 10 points. In that game, he was the best player on the floor by far, better than KD and even Devin Booker. Now, looking at the entire Spurs team, again, only a 5-game sample size, but this team has a lot of guys I would describe as shoot-first players, ask questions later. Has a lot of team. Again, only a 5
he can move. Like, that's what I'm saying. He can really move on his feet. He's fast. He's fast enough on his feet. He could hit you up. He could shoot right over you as well. So it's like,
sample
oh
size.
shit.
But this team has a lot of guys I would describe
I got chills from that. The fact that he's even able to do that, you know. A lot of times, some guys can't even move like that, you know.
Shoot first players, ask questions later. I'm not saying Victor needs 25 shots a game, but someone like Kevin Johnson needs to realize Victor Wembanyama is on your team. Give that guy the keys, and you'll go pretty far. Again, only 5 games, but a lot of these Spurs players are shoot first, ask questions later. As in a very small sample size when Victor actually gets the keys to the offense in the fourth quarter, he explodes and goes nuts. As already Victor ranks 13th in the NBA in fourth quarter scoring.
I was talking about it in the other video, bro. It's like he's just chilling, going through the flow, getting his buckets within the flow of the offense and all that. In the first 3 quarters, once that fourth quarter hit, it's crunch time. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all need me. I'm here. And he's rising to the occasion, bro.
80% shooting,
he's
plus minus a plus 5.2. Think about that for a second. Victor in the fourth quarters nearly has half his points for the entire game. Give this guy the keys as soon as possible. And for Victor already, one guy he's been compared to ad nauseum is Chet Holmgren. And when it comes to Rookie of the Year race, it's a 2-man race between these 2 guys. And look, it is pretty amazing to see 2 rookies already be so impactful on the defensive end.
Chet's still a rookie. He probably didn't play his first year, right? But Chet pretty tough too, and I like that little rivalry they're creating over there.
Winning.
Between Wemby and Chet.
And what I hope watching both these guys dominate, in maybe 3 to 5 years, Victor and Chet single-handedly bring back defense, make it exciting, and make every single player buy in to that end of the court. Take the NBA back to the mid-2000s, early 2010s, when it was super balanced and not totally focused on offense. If Victor and Chet could do that, I'd be in debt to them to the end of time. Because balanced basketball is the best basketball.
Facts.
And unfortunately in 2023, offense rules the day and is super empowered. So that right there is the end of the video.
Yup. Y'all know what to do, man. Let me know how y'all feel in the comments about this. You know what I'm saying? Click on the last reaction over here. Turn on post notifications. Like the video, comment, subscribe. And I'm out of here.